Last time on Simon Builds a Code Editor. Your app can create multiple windows, but you can't decide what size they are. We just say that's just how it is, or do we try and work around it? That's the challenge. That's what I'm gonna be looking at. That's basically the action item right now, is to figure out what's the best way forward. Behold before you the latest version of my code editor for the Apple Vision Pro. As you can see, I made a few changes here and there, and I'll be honest, I didn't record any of those changes, even though I probably should have done that for this devlog, so I'll just have to act it out. Breadcrumbs, I'm sorry, I'm raising your rent. Well, then I'm moving out. Oh my god, this is so stupid, man. Okay, the breadcrumbs, these right here, I moved them into the main window. I have put a file browser or like a sidebar into the main window as well that you can change with these icons here. It's a navigation stack. And I've also added the toolbar that I really wanted at the bottom of the window. And now for the most important thing I've worked on. Let's bring back the mute. Oh wait, just let me finish talking. The most important thing I've been working on, line numbers. Initially, I thought it would be very difficult to add line numbers to the code editor view. The reason I believe this was because all of these Swift libraries I looked at for providing a syntax highlighted text view would not support line numbers on iOS, even though some of them supported it on macOS. So in my head, I was thinking, oh, this is probably some sort of gnarly SDK thing. But in the end, it actually turned out to be pretty straightforward, not too bad, and it is implemented now, so it's time to move on to the next thing. As I was implementing the line number view, I found myself hard coding a lot of colors, font sizes, font styles, and I thought, you know what, maybe it is time to implement official support for themes. Because right now I just hard coded the Night Owl theme, which I really like, but it is a goal to support installing VS Code themes. So that was the second thing I did. After finishing the line number stuff, I wrote some code, obviously it was code, to support loading VS Code themes. And let me show you what it looks like, and then I'll maybe walk through how it works. Here you can see the app in the simulator loaded up with the GitHub Lite theme. So as you can see, it affects first of all, the syntax highlighted code, the line numbers like I talked about, the breadcrumb background and text color is also derived from the theme, and then the sidebar is the editor background but slightly transparent, so you get a little bit of translucency. I'm not a huge fan of how it looks because it's basically it's not transparent at all. It's just a white box, and you know, how do you faithfully load a theme so the user can customize it but still have it look, you know, part of the world? So that's gonna be an ongoing question throughout the devlog, like how do you merge those two things? But let me just try changing the theme loaded. I have a couple others. There's the GitHub dark theme, which helps a lot already. This looks nice, you know, this looks really good. And yeah, this is the GitHub dark theme. I think it's a nice one. It looks pretty good. And let me just show you one last theme, and then we can talk about the technical aspect of it. So here's the Night Owl theme. Let's load that up. Ta-da. Looks almost like it did before, except now it's all derived from a theme. So that's a little demo of it. So let's go through some of the technical stuff. So the way themes work in VS Code is that they are actually extensions, and then extensions can provide one or more themes, which makes it a theme. What does an extension for VS Code look like? Well, if you go and download it straight from the extension marketplace, you will download a VSIX file. But what's interesting about it is that it's actually a zip archive. So you can extract it and have a look inside. And what you will find is, first of all, a VSIX manifest, which contains some information about the extension, which is shown in the VS Code UI. And you will find an extension folder, which is where an extension can provide a number of things. So, for example, it can provide themes. Most themes will usually provide a different variety of the theme the extension is for. Can also add custom components and views in the UI. You can create a web view, so you can do more advanced custom components. You can support a new programming language by implementing communication with a language server and a language definition for syntax highlighting. And finally, you can implement debugging for a specific programming language. And that's the basic anatomy of a VS Code extension. See you later. I've written some code to download VS Code extensions and extract them, and then extract themes from those extensions. I've decided not to use any of it for now because I wanted to, in a future devlog, I wanted to implement the ability to install an extension even if it isn't a theme, and then also have that iCloud synced. So still useful code, not going to be used for now. Then I wrote a different function that will actually load the VS Code theme JSON file and then convert it into a theme for my app. And there's actually not much conversion happening because it's the same format. For the syntax highlighting, there is colors and font styles for each token type. That's just loaded directly and injected into the syntax highlighted code editor. And then above that you have colors, which again is just editor background, editor foreground, breadcrumbs, text color, that sort of thing. That's also just loaded directly. So the token colors, that's the editor theme, and then the other colors, that's the interface theme. And again, in the future, this will be able to be such that you can load them separately. Actually, already it is enabled to be like that in the code, but again, there's no UI for selecting a theme, so you technically can't do it. I'm using a feature of Swift called an environment object to provide a global, I call it a theme provider, to anywhere in the app. So any part, any view in the app that needs to access the theme, which is probably almost all of them, can say, hey, I need the theme provider, I need to get this color, what's the key editor background, because I need to color my background according to that. In order to avoid clutter and complexity, apps are typically split out into components. In Swift UI, these components are called views. And if you take my app, the code editor, as an example, you can imagine it as a hierarchy of views. So at the top level, you will have the content view, which assembles the app. It defines the main window and it defines ornaments, that sort of thing. Then below that, you have, in my case, it's the split code view, which puts the code view next to the sidebar. And in the sidebar, you have whatever component is in there. In the code view, you have the breadcrumbs, which is its own component. And then you have the syntax highlighted code editor, which itself has subcomponents, but that's actually not Swift UI. In my case, it's UI kit based, and there's a whole conversation around that I won't get into right now. However, with this hierarchy, the top level component can provide an environment object, and then any child component can request that environment object without getting it from its direct parent. This makes it really convenient to access any theme property at any time it's necessary. Okay, thank you previous Simon, and from current Simon, I just wanted to apologize about the animation quality there. I'm not exactly a graphic designer, and I mean, I hope I got the point across, even though it doesn't look slick. And also I'm using Final Cut Pro, and I can't figure out, or it's not that I can't figure it out, I just don't know how to animate as well as I used to do it in Premiere Pro or After Effects, which is what I'm actually more of a, Premiere Pro guy. Anyways, that sums up the state of the app. For next time, I'm going to be working on installing VS Code extensions and having them iCloud synced. Only themes would work, but other types of extensions would be able to be installed. Then maybe it has like a little warning label that says, "Oh, it's not gonna work, mate. Sorry, mate. This is not gonna work." And also, I wanted to see if we can get the app to communicate with SSH. Just connect to a server, see what happens. So that's it.